Inspired with Inspire Me 360, and today what I wanted to chat a little bit about is the concept of how life always brings towards you through the law of attraction what you need in all aspects. So I love the phrase, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And this is so incredibly true. And what we have to start to understand is that everything in life is our teacher, and we are teaching it as well. So we are always in every moment becoming the teacher and also the student in and of the same moment, because any interaction we have is always an exchange. It's an exchange of energy, it's an exchange of information. And at our very core, we are all only an emanation of energy. Our soul frequency is an energetic state. So in all ways, in all layers, we are always learning from each and every individual interaction and from each individual event that is transpiring throughout our days. And when you start to adopt this understanding, you realize that everything in every moment of your life is this continual learning cycle. And all lessons are different depending on the stage that you're at. So let's say you are, kind of at a low calibration, and you're finding that you have a lot of traumatic experiences, maybe you're having a lot of health issues, financial issues, and everything that is teaching you is at a very survival level. So sort of that lower echelon of vibrational knowing, okay? The only way through the mechanism of magnetism, because again, we magnetize towards ourselves everything that we are. So where we are vibrating inside of ourselves, or the frequency that we're holding, is what is going to be pulled into our external experience, okay? And if we want to ascend above that or to raise our experience, we have to change the dynamic of what is going on inside us. Now, how do we do that? How do we change our external reality by looking at our internal reality? Well, we look at our thoughts. We look at what we're thinking about, how we're judging others, and what is the predominant environment of our mental constitution in any given day. And when we're living from a very unconscious state, where there's no evaluation about how we're acting and how we're thinking, then there is very little spiritual progress. And you will have years, if not lifetimes, that will out-manifest in a very similar fashion. You'll find that you are falling in the same hole over and over and over. It will be a similar situation, but different people mirroring it back to you. And again, eventually, it is the hope of the universe, which is always trying to teach us, the quantum field, the divine intelligence, that we will get tired of falling in that same mental trap. And we will do some sort of a deeper dive into our own consciousness and say, if this scenario keeps cropping up for me, what is it within myself that is calling this external reality towards me? What do I need to heal? What do I need to fix? And what do I need to recalibrate within my own body, mind, spirit complex that is going to rid myself once and for all of this distortion? And again, it has to be a desire. You have to want to do a deep dive or some real consideration into your own beingness to make this transition. If you are 100% existing in an asleep state, and being very asleep means being very ego-based, seeing things from, again, either a victim mentality or an attack mentality. So that victim mentality is going to be, life is happening to me. I have no control. It's always bad news for me. It's always bad luck. Nothing great ever happens to me. Oh no, this is happening again. Okay, if we are falling into this rabbit hole of negative victim mentality thinking, we're not going to see anything positive other than more negativity manifest for us to it's mirroring back our core ideological frequency. And if we play the victim, we are going to be the victim. If all we think about and see ourselves as is a victim, then that's what's going to play out in the stage of our three-dimensional reality. And that's, again, a shade of the egoic mind. Now, the other side of ego is a very pompous, prideful, attack type of mechanism or type of thinking. This is kind of a fuck the world kind of thinking. If the world's not going to show me the out manifestation of what I want to see, then I am going to bend the world with my will. I am going to attack it. I am going to speak against it. I'm going to be that vigilante, okay? It's not wrong to play a victim or to experience the role of a victim. And it's not wrong to be the vigilante or to experience the role of the warrior, okay? Both of those ideological lenses are both mechanisms of learning of beingness. So I want to be clear on this. But there is a state of consciousness that exists beyond the egoic expression of mind. And that is when we drop into this idea of really analyzing the self. If we really want to change our outer reality, we really have to do a deep dive into the workings of our inner labyrinth, the labyrinth of the mind, okay? And any spiritual book, if you really read it and you look at it from a metaphoric standpoint, it's speaking about the journey of the mind through metaphorical stories, okay? And it's asking us to look within, not to attack without, not to apply, countless judgments on the world. It's not our job to judge the world, okay? The world is always in a state of recalibration. The collective consciousness is always recalibrating based on what's happening with our collective thought forms. And the way that we create massive waves of change within that mental matrix is to go within, is to seek to eradicate distortions within the self. And we do that through utilizing our mirrors. So the teachers around us that come into our everyday life, that allow us to act out our worst expression of ourselves and mirror it back to us. This is how we learn, because then we sit there and say, how did I act in this given situation? Was I the best version of myself? Could have I done this in a more compassionate way? Could have I been more temperate? Could have I had a more graceful approach? But without asking these deep questions of ourselves, we can transcend nothing. Without really nailing ourselves to the cross of our own internal investigation, we will not see progress. And that's the hardest lesson of all to learn, is that solitary journey, in a sense. You really have to be willing to look at your own shortfalls and your own elements of shadow and distortion. And when you see yourself acting from a lower frequency or a lower mind, you have to at least try to correct it or put practices in place that are going to elevate you so that you can, again, magnetize yourself towards a higher and higher expression of manifestation and a higher and higher viewpoint of the totality of all that is. And this is difficult. I am not saying by any stretch of the imagination that this is easy. It is a lifelong journey, and it is a never-ending journey, okay? Because once you end this lifetime, you're going to incarnate into another lifetime, another type of life. It might be more of an energetic or light body that you inhabit. It might be a different type of planetary system or solar system, but nonetheless, you are never going to be in a state of nothingness, okay? Energy is always present. It's always in fluctuation, and you are energy. And once you understand that, and once you understand that the goal of living on Earth is to understand your own energy and to learn how to control your energy and control the signals that you are sending out, so your vibration, and calibrate that to the highest expression of your being, which is unconditional love and non-judgment, you will see a greater and greater speed at which your desires out-manifest. And this happens because, again, as you raise your consciousness, as you ascend that ladder and become in communion, you commune with that divine essence, okay, that source energy, you start to become one with it, and you start to create with it. And then the expressions of your mind become more and more beautifully calibrated to healing, the preservation of love, of life and love, and the protection of all life, okay? This is why, to a great degree, a lot of spiritual masters and teachers are, to, in a broad sense, are also vegetarian, because once you start to love all life in this unconditional way, you can see a very direct correlation between not sacrificing another's life, or not sacrificing an animal's life for your own nutrition, that there are more gentle ways to express the needs that you have as a body, okay? Because the body, the flesh, has needs, okay? It has wants. It wants to feed itself. It wants to eat. It wants to engage in all of the pleasures of existing in a lifetime. But as we ascend, as we call our consciousness to a higher level of expression, we start to make what is really not sacrifices, or what are really not sacrifices, but we start to make adjustments within our daily practices that calibrate with the highest expression of unconditional love and protection of all life, okay? Every rock, every tree, every emanation of the divine creation, we start to protect it, and we start to protect it with everything that we are. And part of that protection mechanism is grounding ourselves in a grace, in a state of grace that attacks none, that destroys none, and is peaceful in all we do. And I'm going to fall back into an example of the teachings of Gandhi. He was a very, very incredible consciousness. He had the ability to create massive amounts of change through peaceful protest. He showed the world that through taking no violent action, we can change things. And again, this is the highest expression of utilizing what you are, your voice, your body, the emanation of love, to create waves of change through the lack of attack, through the lack of need of violence. And this is the highest expression of how a human life can out-manifest here in the third dimension. Okay, I'm going to wrap up this video. I know that's a lot to digest, and I did kind of go on a little bit of a rant there. But again, it's because I'm so passionate about teaching this material, about teaching unconditional love and non-judgment, and the fact that there is so much to be said by just holding reverence for all life and protecting all life, and what we can really create here on planet Earth when we exist in this way. So, wishing you all a beautiful weekend, and hopefully the teachers that you need within your life will appear.